all eyes are on President Biden still. Now, as he faces more calls to end his re-election bid, during his news conference yesterday, President Biden maintained he's staying in the race and demonstrated his vast foreign policy knowledge, but he also had just a few gaffes. We're going to bring in now Fox 5 political reporter Morgan McKay. Morgan, the first thing we want to talk about, what has been the reaction to the news conference?
Well, right after President Joe Biden's press conference, 3 additional House Democrats came out to call on Biden to step aside. And just this morning, we're seeing some major Democratic donors telling one of the largest super PACs for the president that they're going to be freezing about $90 million in donations during this turbulent time. Now, however, some other Democrats and voters are coming out this morning saying the way the president was able to navigate some tough questions on foreign and domestic policy really show that he has the ability to serve another 4 years. But some other Democrats are saying, you know, we're just waiting for the next mistake, and we can't have that in our country right now. But Biden was asked last night if he would step aside if it showed in polling numbers that his Vice President Kamala Harris would do a better job at beating former President Donald Trump. We have that sound right here.
Would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that.
Okay.
Now, he is right in a way that there are no polls showing that he would necessarily lose majorly, but, you know, it's within that margin of error. He's about 2 points behind nationally and in some battleground districts even further. Now, I do want to mention that, you know, that gaffe last night of him calling Vice President
Kamala Harris, Vice President Trump.
Exactly. And, you know, the online, the internet never forgets.
It won't.
But, you know, I think a lot of people this morning, a lot of Democrats and experts that I've been listening to have been saying, you know, everyone makes mistakes. However, younger voters, they're the ones that are on the internet, on TikTok, and they're the ones that are going to see that clip get played over and over and over again.
Let's talk about Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader, because we understand he released a letter, you know, about his meeting with the president. Let's talk about that.
Yes, so he came out with a letter this morning saying he met with President Joe Biden last night, but he doesn't go into much more information than that. Now, yesterday, he said that he has been speaking with every member of his caucus individually, speaking to them about their concerns with the president, and he's been relaying those back to Biden. Now, he says after he's done that, he's going to have a meeting with leadership and discuss a path forward. But a lot of eyes are on Jeffries and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer during this time to see what they're going to do and what's next.
New Yorkers holding the ball there. All right, James Clyburn, Congressman from South Carolina, also on your radar today. Let's talk about him.
Yes, so he came out right after the press conference saying that he stands with Joe Biden. Now, this morning it was in an interview, and he was a little more tepid than some have seen him. Now, he still said that he stands with Biden and he thinks that he deserves respect during this time while he makes a decision about what's next. But he also said, quote, if he decides to change his mind later on, then we will respond to that. We have until the 19th of August to open our convention, almost leaving it open in a way to allow Biden to change his mind before the convention. But a lot of experts are saying that conversation has to happen way before August. So a lot of pressure. The clock is ticking.
Clock is ticking. You got a busy day, young lady, do you not? All right.